Owen fell to his death in a horrifying accident when a malfunction with his harness sent him plummeting from the rafters of Kemper Arena, landing chest first on the ring ropes. He was rushed to the hospital, but the damage was catastrophic. His life was gone, just like that. But as devastating as his passing was, what makes it even more unsettling are the strange and eerie coincidences that surrounded it. Coincidences that some believe point to something far more chilling than just an accident. Perhaps the most unnerving coincidence of all is the fact that Owen's tragic death took place at an event titled Over the Edge. Looking at it in hindsight, the name feels like an omen, almost as if it was written in the stars that something catastrophic was bound to happen that night. But what's even stranger is that exactly 1 year to the day before Owen's death, on May 23, 1998, an episode of Batman. The animated series aired with the exact same name, Over the Edge. The plot of this episode is haunting in its parallels. In it, Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, falls from a great height to her death, sending shockwaves through the characters who witness it. A tragic fall, a loss that shakes those left behind, and the title, Over the Edge, all tie eerily to the real-life tragedy that would occur exactly 1 year later. The similarities are unsettling enough that some have speculated whether this was some form of cosmic foreshadowing, a moment in pop culture that unwittingly predicted a tragedy in professional wrestling that no one could have foreseen. Owen Hart's death didn't just occur in a vacuum. It happened in the shadow of one of the most bitter and personal rivalries in wrestling history, the ongoing feud between his brother, Bret the Hitman Hart, and WWF chairman Vince McMahon. The Montreal Screwjob at Survivor Series 1997 had shattered the relationship between the Hart family and WWE. Vince McMahon had orchestrated a real-life betrayal of Bret, forcing him to lose the WWF Championship in an unscripted finish before leaving for WCW. Bret had been deceived, humiliated, and pushed out of the company he had helped define. But Owen Hart remained in WWF, not necessarily because he wanted to, but because he was locked into his contract. He had reportedly wanted to join his brother in WCW, but Vince wouldn't let him go. Instead, Owen was stuck in a company that had just betrayed his family, forced to carry on in an environment that was likely uncomfortable and hostile. This fact has fueled some conspiracy theories over the years. Did Vince McMahon, in some twisted way, view Owen as collateral damage in his war against Bret? Was his death purely an accident, or was there negligence, or even malice, at play? While there's no direct evidence to suggest foul play, the fact remains that Owen's accident occurred within a company that had already shown it was willing to prioritize business over personal well-being. The Hart family, already devastated by what happened to Bret, would now suffer an even greater tragedy, this time with irreversible consequences. Another chilling coincidence from that night involved wrestler Al Snow. During Over the Edge, Al Snow was seen wearing a black armband, not in tribute to Owen, but to his recently deceased dog. It's an innocent and unrelated gesture on the surface, but in hindsight, it becomes an eerie foreshadowing of what was to come. Just 1 day later, the entire WWF roster would be wearing similar black armbands, not for a pet, but for Owen Hart himself. The idea that a wrestler would unknowingly wear a symbol of mourning before the event even began is something that continues to unsettle fans. It was almost as if, in some strange way, fate was giving a quiet warning, one that no one understood until it was too late. Beyond the eerie coincidences, there are still lingering questions about Owen's death that have never truly been answered to satisfaction. Number 1. The harness choice. On previous occasions, Owen had been lowered from the rafters using a secure rigging system. But for some reason, on this night, WWF used a different type of harness, a quick release clip used for stunt work. This clip was designed to open easily with a single tug, which raises the question, why did they choose a system that was inherently more dangerous? 2. Was Owen pressured into the stunt? Reports suggest Owen was hesitant to perform the stunt that night, yet he did it anyway. Did he feel obligated? Was there pressure from WWE officials to go through with it? 3. Why did the show continue? Perhaps the most disturbing aspect of that night is the fact that WWF decided to keep the show going even after Owen had died. Fans at the arena were unaware of what had truly happened, but those watching at home had heard the commentary shift from excitement to sheer devastation. WWF's decision to continue the event felt cold and unsettling, as if Owen's life was just another segment to be moved past in the name of business. To this day, many believe that the company's handling of Owen's death was deeply irresponsible, both in terms of safety and in how they treated the tragedy afterward.